Hi friends, Alisha Slaughter, checking in today from my home here in Santa Cruz, California. I am a certified yoga teacher and holistic nutritionist, and today I have a 30-minute full body yoga flow to share with you. This yoga flow will help you connect with your breath, clear your mind, find some strength and flexibility, and challenge your balance a bit. For this practice today, all you really need is a yoga mat, but I do suggest to bring some blocks and a strap if you have them. And if you don't have blocks or a strap, you can bring books of two of the similar sizes. You can bring another strap-like belt, blankets, pillows, anything that will help you be the most comfortable you can be as we go through the flow. This flow should be accessible to most people. However, if this is new, if you're new to yoga, I highly suggest you check with your doctor before starting a new exercise practice. So without further ado, grab what you need and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, yogis, so hopefully you have all the props that you need and we're gonna go ahead and get started. You can place your props towards the front of your mat, just so they're accessible when you need them. And come and find a nice long spine on your mat in a cross-legged position. So take a moment to root your sitting bones into the mat, and remember that your blocks or a blanket or a pillow will help you find some length if you're having trouble. So you can hike your hips up onto a block and just start to connect with your breath, taking 3 slow full body inhales and exhales. And with each breath, you're going to inhale through your nose, filling up your chest and your belly, letting that breath reach down as far as you possibly can. And then on the exhale, you want to reverse that motion, so deflating your belly and your chest. So taking your time, closing your eyes if you'd like, resting your hands gently on your legs. Take a big inhale, filling up. And then exhale, reversing that motion. You can inhale in and out through your nose, or inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Taking the time just to connect, starting our practice here by connecting with your breath, connecting with your body, connecting with the moment, and just committing to the next 30 to 40 minutes to stay present, and as your mind starts to wander, just to bring it back to your breath. Finishing your last cycle of breath, let's start to connect breath to movement. So taking your hands out to the sides, palms up, inhaling, gaze comes up, and then exhaling, tucking the chin through heart center. 2 more times, slow is good. Inhaling, palms up, and then exhaling through heart center. 1 more time, inhaling, palms up, exhaling through heart center. Next, bring your hands to your knees and we're going to take a couple seated cat-cows. So hands energetically resting on your knees. You're going to inhale, pull your heart through your chest, tilt your head back, look up. And then exhale, rounding forward, crunching everything in. 2 more times, inhaling. And then exhaling. 1 more time, inhaling. And then exhaling. Next, bring your right hand down, left hand palm up and over, side body stretch. Open your heart towards the sky. And then on your exhale, bring your hand in front of you, rounding, left hand down, right arm up and over, side body stretch. Exhaling through center. 1 more time each side. Now we're going to come into a child's pose, so coming off of your block, if you're on your block, sending it towards the front of your mat. 2 different options here for child's pose. You can keep your knees together to be a little bit more supportive of your lower back, or you can take a wide knees child's pose, toes together. Take a big inhale, and then exhale, walking your hands forward. You can rock side to side in your shoulders, and then finally relaxing down. 3 breaths. Last breath, bring a little bit of energy to your hands, sending your fingertips forward, hips back. Full exhale. On your next inhale, we're going to roll up, finding tabletop. So hands right underneath your shoulders, lower belly pulled in, knees stacked underneath your hips, rounding out through your shoulder blades, so pushing that little space between your shoulder blades broad, lower belly pulled in, and then take a moment just to pay attention to your hands. Weight is distributed evenly. Let's come into a couple cat-cows. So inhale, drop the belly, raise the gaze, and then exhale, push away, tuck the chin. Inhale, drop the belly, raise the gaze. Exhale, tuck the chin. Keep on going with your own breath. And take any kind of organic movements that feel good in your body, so you can send your hips back, rolling forward. You can come into a couple barrel rolls one way or then the other. Take your time, feeling into your body, lubricating your back and your shoulders. And then we'll take a couple breaths here just to warm up our wrists. So coming onto the back of one wrist, rocking back and forth, and then switching your fingertips back towards your knees, rocking back and forth. Other hand, being really gentle. Oftentimes people forget to warm up their wrists, but our wrists put a lot of weight on our wrists in our vinyasas. So always being mindful to be gentle with our wrists. From here, we're gonna come into a down dog. So tucking your toes, rooting your hands into the ground, feeling that stabilization in your shoulders, you're going to push your hips up, gluing lower belly to quads. So here, keep your knees really bent. It's most important here that you find the nice long spine. So rooting your hands in the ground, your hips are shooting up. Take a big inhale and exhale, and then slowly you can start to bicycle out your legs. One at a time, rocking hips back and forth, keeping your back really straight. After a couple bicycles, you're gonna inhale up onto your knees, up onto your toes, bending your knees, and then gently start to straighten your legs. Don't worry about getting your heels all the way to the ground here. It's more important to keep that length in your back, bending your knees as much as you have to be very gentle. Couple breaths. And then slowly we're gonna start to walk our feet forward into a ragdoll forward fold. Bending your knees again, gluing your lower belly to your thighs. You can grab onto your elbows and just rock back and forth. Keeping with your slow inhales and exhales. Your hips are reaching high, but you're being mindful of your lower back and keeping your knees bent. Take a big inhale, flatten your back, head reaches forward. Exhale, release everything into forward fold on the ground. And then we're going to root to rise to come up to standing reverse swan. Hands look up, and then hands come down through heart. We're gonna take a moment here to find our standing pose, so I'm gonna face you for a second. Toes together, heels apart, activating your feet, activating your legs. Lower belly pulls in, shoulders are relaxed, hands by your sides. So one of the things I want to talk you through today is finding pada bandha in your feet, this activation in your feet. So imagine that there are 2 points in the back, 2 points in the back of your feet and 2 points in the front of your feet. You're going to dig those points into the ground, lift your arches, lift your toes, connect with the earth, and then gently release your toes down, activating your legs. This is Tadasana. We're going to come through a couple vinyasa flows. I will give you some options. It's most important to connect every movement to a breath, to approach each one of the movements as slow as possible, and to always listen to your body. So starting at the top of our mat, hands to heart. Inhale, arms go wide, hands touch, look up, and then with a flat back, we're gonna come down to a forward fold, bending your knees. On an inhale, you're gonna bring your hands to your legs, finding a flat back, head reaches forward, and then exhale, bending your knees. You're gonna connect your hands with the earth, and you're gonna step back into plank pose. Hands right underneath shoulders, finding a really strong plank here, lower belly pulled in, pushing the ground away, rounding out your shoulder blades. You're gonna take a big inhale here, and then as you exhale, you're gonna come down, knees, chest, chin, down to the ground, lowering all the way down. Hands come underneath your shoulders. You're gonna push your toes into the ground, activate your legs, release your head down. On an inhale, you're gonna find cobra. Using your back muscles, pushing your toes, lifting your knees, come up. And then exhale, release down. On your next inhale, you're gonna come back through tabletop, tuck your toes, and find down dog. Take an inhale and exhale here in down dog. We'll go through that vinyasa one more time. So inhaling, making your way to the front of your mat, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, remembering to bend your knees. Reverse swan brings you up to standing. Hands up, look up. And then exhale through heart center. Taking a moment to find the standing pose we found before. Full inhale and exhale. Next inhale, arms go wide. Look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Head reaches forward. Exhale, bend your knees, place your hands on the mat, send your feet back, finding plank. Take a big inhale once in plank, and then you can exhale down, knees, chest, chin, elbows squeeze in, all the way down to the ground. Engage your legs, press your toes, lift your knees, inhale, come up, low cobra. Exhale, releasing down. Push up through tabletop, tuck the toes, finding down dog. Next inhale, walk your feet forward with bent knees. Flat back, head reaches forward. Exhale, release down. Reverse swan, hands go wide. Inhale, look up. And then exhale down through heart center. We're gonna do one more vinyasa flow. This time I'm gonna give you an option if you'd like to try chaturanga and up dog. But chaturanga and up dog is definitely a version of a vinyasa that you're going to want to do after you've mastered the first vinyasa option that we went through. So try it out, and if it doesn't feel safe in your body, stick with the first version. Inhale, hands come out. Hands touch, look up. Exhale, swan dive down, bending knees. Inhale, heart forward, spine long. Exhale, plant your hands, step back into plank. Take a moment to find plank. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to come forward, elbows squeeze in. You're going to hover down, flipping onto your toes, activating your legs. You're going to inhale, heart reaches forward. This is up dog. And then coming into down dog, you're going to come over your toes slowly, finding down dog. Take an inhale and an exhale here. Next inhale, you're going to reach your right leg high, finding three-legged dog. Take another inhale here, and then come up on your left toes, and as you exhale, bring that right knee all the way through, second in as far as you can, and we're going to find low lunge. Dropping that back knee, you can untuck those back toes, and then inhale and come up. Interlace your hands over that right leg, and you want to come up enough so that you can back out of the pose. And if you have any discomfort in your left knee, you can grab your blanket, or you can also flip your mat over. But eventually what you want to feel is that your legs and your knee are rooting into the ground and pulling so much together that there's not a lot of weight on that back knee. So inhaling, hands coming up, palms facing each other, relaxing your neck, coming back to your breath. Feeling your lower belly pull in, your tummy engage. Inhale, hands touch, look up. And then we're going to exhale into a half splits. This is where your blocks come in handy, so grab your blocks if you have them. Flex your right toes back towards your face, square your hips. Take a big inhale, and then exhale, start to hinge at the hips, leading with your heart. Always remembering that your neck is an extension of your spine, so tucking the chin slightly, and making sure that you're not looking up or looking down, but finding a lot of length. Taking your time, breathing into your hamstring here. On your next inhale, we're going to come forward, bending into our right knee. You can bring your blocks forward, you can stay on that back knee. We're going to come into a twist. So come off the back knee if you'd like, or you can stay on the knee. The left hand reaches down, kitty's gonna come visit, And then you're gonna take your right arm up. So remember, you can be leg down or leg up. Take a big inhale to expand. Exhale, that top hand comes down. Plant your hands, right foot goes back, finding plank. We're gonna come through a vinyasa again. So remember the options, knees, chest, chin, or down through chaturanga, but keep on taking knees, chest, chin until you feel really strong enough to do the chaturanga with control. So pick your vinyasa, take an inhale here, and then exhale, come on down to the ground, find low cobra or up dog, and then as you exhale, come down. Inhale, come back through reverse chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, finding down dog. Take a big inhale and exhale here in down dog. Next, inhale, your left leg will rise high, finding three-legged dog. Take a full inhale here. Rise up on those right toes to create the space. As you exhale, bring that left knee forward as much as you can to get it through your hands. We're gonna find low lunge on the other side. Untuck those toes, bring yourself up. Interlace your hands over that left leg. Square your hips. Feel that front foot and the back knee rooting into the ground and then pulling together. Your tummy is engaged and then your hands reach up. Couple breaths here. Each time you come into a pose, you want to definitely connect back up with your breath and then figure out how you can be engaged in each pose without creating extra tension in your body. Effortless effort. One more inhale here, arms reach up. And then as you exhale, we're gonna grab our blocks and come into the half splits. So remember, if you don't have your blocks, just do the best you can, but we really wanna create that length. We wanna square our hips, and we wanna find a nice gentle fold from our hips. Tucking the chin, feeling the top of the head reach forward. Coming back to those deep inhales and exhales. Next inhale, we're gonna bend that left knee, walking the blocks out of the way. And remember, you can leave that back knee down or pull it up. And so pick where you wanna go. Root the right hand this time. Left hand reaches high for a gentle twist. Take a couple breaths here. Final breath, left hand reaches high. And then exhale that hand down. This time, both hands are gonna frame the front foot, but we're gonna step the back foot forward, finding a forward fold. So inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, we're gonna root to rise, coming up to standing. Hands up, look up. And then exhale in front of your face. Take a round of breath here, feeling those 4 points of each foot rooting into the ground, finding the strength in your legs, lower belly pulls in, shoulders are engaged. Next, inhale, we're gonna come and find chair pose. So coming down, touching the ground, bringing your hands up. So here in chair pose, we are squatting down as much as we can. Take a look to see if you can see your toes. If you can't, just rock your hips back a little bit. And then we wanna have a neutral spine, so that means not too bent this way, and then not too straight this way. So rock your hips back and forth a bit until you're somewhere that feels comfortable. And then you just drop into breath. Smooth inhales and exhales. Take a couple more breaths here. Squeezing your knees together. Feeling the strength in your quads. Next inhale, we're gonna straighten up. Hands touch, look up. And then exhale down through heart center. Take a full cycle of breath in standing pose. Next move, we're going to root our left leg. Pick your right knee up. So flexing those toes, squaring the hips. Looking for a point on the ground to help you find your balance. We're gonna take this front right foot, take a big inhale, and then slowly take it back. We're gonna find high lunge, challenging our balance. So finding high lunge, and if you wiggle, it's okay. Finding high lunge here, squaring your hips. And here you want to keep your upper body pretty straight up and down. So if you have to bend your back knee, that's absolutely fine. But both legs are really strong, rooting into the ground, pulling, scissoring together. And then you're gonna find your arms. Arms are engaged and active, but not strained. Couple smooth breaths here. Again, you should find a nice little stretch on the front of your right hip. Take an inhale, hands touch, look up. Exhale through heart center. We're gonna bring this back leg back up to a balanced pose. Find your balance, square your hips, take your left hand across your body, across your leg, and then send your right arm back. Another gentle twist here. And if you'd like, you can start to move your gaze, challenging your balance even more. We're gonna inhale, hands back to heart center. And from here, we're gonna challenge our balance further and find warrior three. So take a big inhale, and then exhale, moving that foot back. Taking your time. Remember, if you wiggle out, just find your way back to where we are. And anytime your body wiggles or anytime you fall out of your pose, just know that that's your body learning something new. So push out through your back heel. Create a long line of energy from your heel all the way out to the very tippy top of your head. Take one more inhale here. And then as you exhale, bring that knee back in and then down and find chair pose. If at any time you need to stand up and wiggle your feet and come back and meet us, it's totally fine. Do what you can. So rock your hips back. Take a couple breaths here in chair pose. Lower belly pulled in, smooth inhales and exhales. Next inhale, we're gonna stand up, hands touch, look up, and then down through heart center. Take a cleansing breath here. Now we're gonna come to the other side. So root the right foot, inhale the left foot up, square the hips. Find a point on the ground where you have your balance. We're going to take this left foot and rock it back, finding that high lunge. Slow is good. Setting up high lunge here for a couple breaths. Come way up on those back toes. You can bend that back knee if you want. Feet are rooting into the ground and then pulling together, legs are strong. Shoulders relaxed. Gaze soft. Hands active. And again, through all of your practice, pay attention to your core. Lower belly is always pulled in. Take an inhale, exhale, hands to heart center. Then we're gonna bring that back foot back up again, finding our balance, squaring our hips. This time, right hand across body to the outside of that left knee. Left hand swings open. Once you feel like you have your balance, you can start to challenge your balance by sending your gaze back towards that back hand. Couple breaths there. Next inhale brings everything back towards center, hands at heart. We're gonna send that left front foot back and find warrior three. So take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, start to send it back. Taking your time, finding warrior three. Really flexing out through that back left heel, lower belly pulled in. And here in warrior three, you can always leave your hands at heart or fly them back or fly them out in front of you. Maybe challenging yourself a bit. Next inhale, swing that back leg forward, finding balance, and then finding chair again. Just for a couple breaths here. And then the next inhale, you're gonna straighten your legs. Hands touch, look up, and then exhale through heart center. Let's come into a wide-legged forward fold. So taking your right leg, bringing them wide here on your mat. Feet should be parallel to the edges of your mat. And there's a couple different options here. So we're gonna hinge at the hips. You can bring your hands to your hips, or you can interlace your hands back behind your body like this. So this is where your strap comes in handy. If you cannot interlace your hands back behind your back, this is where the strap, your belt, whatever you can find. So if you wanted to play around with that, you grab your strap wherever's comfortable, where you're not straining, but you're feeling a little bit of a stretch. So wiggling it into where you can feel comfortable here. Take a big inhale, open your heart, and then hinging forward at the hips, coming down. And if you have your yoga strap, making sure to hold on to the little buckle part, because it can sometimes come down and hit you in the head. So inhaling, finding length, exhaling, releasing down, if you have the interlaced hands behind your back, just letting them relax up and over. Those of you that have brought your hands to your hips, you can walk them forward into a wide-legged down dog. You can walk them more underneath your face, or even sending them back behind you if you have the flexibility. Being very gentle and mindful of going too far and going just far enough. And every day your body's a little bit different. So yoga is a great practice of just checking in with where you are today and being okay with wherever that is. Take one more cycle of breath here. And as you inhale, you're going to flatten your back. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands to your hips. Flat back, come up. And then bring your feet together. So I'm going to face you. You can stay towards the front of your mat. And we're going to come into a tree pose. So lots of fun balances today. A couple different options for tree pose. So there's a way of actively using your foot and your leg to push together to find the balance. And then there's a more passive way that uses more muscles. So decide, you can play around with each and decide where you want to go. We always start from that foundational pose of Tadasana, so feeling those 4 points rooting into the ground, arches lifted, legs strong. And we're going to start with the right leg. So rooting into the left leg, lifting that right knee up again, squaring your hips, and you're going to take your foot, so this is passive, onto the inside, opening everything up, finding where you can bring it, and just being careful not to push too hard onto your knee. And if you wanted to make it a little bit more active, you can bring it up where it feels comfortable, pushing everything to the center line, finding tree pose. So pick where you'd like to go, hands to heart. Pick that point on the ground, your drishti pose, your drishti gaze, where that will help you with your balance. And once everything feels comfortable there, you can move on to bringing your hands up. And if that feels comfortable, lower belly pulled in, you can start to inhale your gaze up. Staying with those slow inhales and exhales, maybe a little back bend here. Heart opening. And then as you reverse all of that, hands to heart center. Slowly coming out of the pose, and then bringing your feet down to meet. You need to wiggle your feet out, we're going to do the other side. So, starting with the foundational pose of Tadasana, feeling your feet rooting into the ground, arches lifted, legs strong. Root the right leg in, lift the left knee up this time. Square hips. Then we're going to take that left foot, find a passive place for it to be, or an active place. Maybe I will do the passive one on this side to show you. So, your knee is opening up your hip. Your gaze is gently resting on that drishti point on the ground. You find a place where you feel solid. Then to take it further, hands out to the side. Inhale, hands up. If you're feeling good here, another inhale. Gaze comes up, maybe the back bend. And then slowly, on an exhale, bring everything down, transitioning out just as slowly as you transitioned in. and then finding the standing pose. Take a moment just to feel the standing pose. Take a full cycle of breath, and then we'll come back towards the front of our mat. We're going to take another vinyasa here, but we're going to pause in down dog and then roll forward to plank pose. So I'll kick us off. Inhale, hands out. They touch, look up. Exhale, forward fold, remembering to bend your knees. Inhaling, heart forward. Exhale, plant your hands, finding plank pose. Inhaling here in plank. Exhaling down. Low cobra or up dog. Press your toes, lift your knees, and if this doesn't feel great on your lower back, start to walk your elbows forward a bit. And once you get there, you want to pull your hands back towards your chest. Heart comes through your shoulders. And if you want a little bit more, legs are active. And if you even want a little bit more, but this is only if you're feeling very comfortable and have no pain in your lower back, you can start to take your hands out to the side, activate your legs, and then gently push up. Pulling those hands energetically back towards your body. And then gently releasing down. So we're gonna make our way back to down dog. Two options. You can push up knees, chest, chin, and down to down dog, or tucking your toes, activating your body, hands underneath your shoulders. You can inhale, push up through plank, and then finding down dog. Take a full inhale and exhale here in down dog. The next inhale, you're gonna come up into your toes and walk your feet all the way through, and we're gonna come on to our backs. So we're gonna do a couple of poses here on our backs to finish out our practice, and we're almost there. So bring your feet in, we're gonna come into a figure four. So feet should be about hip distance apart. You can brush the backs of your feet with your fingertips. Take your right foot flexed and then cross it over your left leg. Your right knee should be pushing your hip open, and then you can start to bring your left leg in, grabbing behind your knee here. Your right elbow can push gently into your right knee, and then just take a couple breaths here, opening up your hip. Take one more cycle of breath, and then release the right foot. Left foot comes up, flexed over the right. Inhale the right knee in, grab behind the right leg. Push that left knee out with your left elbow slightly, and a couple breaths here. Finish one more cycle of breath here. Maybe squeezing that leg a little bit more. And then go ahead and release both feet down. You're going to come into a couple rounds of bridges. So if you have a block and you know you want to take a passive bridge for all 3 rounds, you can bring your feet in, bottoms of feet on the ground, and then you can lift your hips up and you can place the block at any height underneath your sacrum and just relax like this. You want to come up into the 3 different rounds of a traditional bridge. Bring your feet in, the backs of your fingertips rest on your ankles or your heels, and then you're going to push the backs of your arms into the ground. So when we come up, and you can even take one of your blocks here and put it in between your legs and squeeze it, or you can imagine you have a block there. But placing the backs of your arms on the ground, fingertips up, you're going to take an inhale, and then exhale, push your lower back into the ground. Pushing those 4 points of each foot into the ground, you're going to inhale your hips up. Pushing the backs of your arms into the ground. Squeezing the block or the imaginary block. Inhaling up. Feeling your feet rooting into the ground. Maybe you can interlace your hands back behind your back. Smooth breath. Next inhale, come up onto your toes. Hands come up and over your head, and then rolling down. To rest, you're going to want to bring your feet to the edges of your mat, knees together, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, just for a couple breaths. You can close your eyes. And then we can come into round 2. Bringing your feet back, hip distance apart, brushing your heels with your fingertips, rooting your feet into the ground, finding your arms. Inhale, exhale, lower backwards down. Next inhale, root your feet and lift your hips. Keep the back of your arms on the ground or interlace. Wiggle your shoulders under. Push your hips up. Squeeze your legs together, knees energetically driving forward. Couple breaths here. Take an inhale up onto your toes, hands come up and over, and then release down. Knees together, feet apart. Couple breaths to rest. Alrighty, preparing for round 3. Bring your feet together, hip distance apart. Brush the backs of your heels with your fingertips. Back of your hands rooted into the ground. Backs of your arms rooting into the ground. Take an inhale and then exhale, root the lower back. Next inhale, push into the feet. Hips raise. Squeezing the legs together. Push into the backs of the hands, fingertips up, or interlace if you've done that before. Scooching the shoulders under. This time, if you'd like, you can root all of your feet into your left leg. Take your right foot off the ground. Point it straight up. Flex the leg. Inhale, lift the hips. And then exhale, bring that right foot down. Keep the hips lifted. Inhale. Exhale. Next, inhale, root the right leg. Left leg goes up. Point the toes. Flex the leg. Inhale, hips raise. Exhale, bring the leg down. One more inhale. Everything lifts. Come up on your toes. Hands up and over your head. And then release down onto the ground. Couple breaths here, knees together, feet apart. We're going to come into a little twist. So left leg goes long, right knee squeezed in. Take it out to the side on an inhale and then across your body. One more time. Out to the side and then across your body. Relaxing all the way over, keeping your right shoulder rooted. Come into a gentle twist here. And being mindful that if you have any back issues here, sometimes twisting is not recommended, so make sure to check with your doctor and listen to your body. If anything doesn't feel right, just back off. Come back to those full body deep inhales and exhales here. Feeling a nice extension from your shoulder out through your hip. One more inhale, expanding across the front of your chest. And then we'll switch sides, rolling onto your back. Maybe giving that right knee a squeeze. And then switching legs. Left knee in, right leg long. Take that left knee out to the side on an inhale and then across. Out to the side, and then all the way across. Hike up on that right hip. Root the left shoulder this time, and then come into the twist. Deep breaths. That hip pulls away from the shoulder. One more big inhale to expand across your chest. And then coming back onto your backs, giving that left knee a squeeze, squaring the hips. And then bringing both knees in. Go ahead and give yourself a nice big squeeze. And then coming into happy baby. Flexing your toes and bringing them on either side of your body, grabbing onto the outside of your feet. You want to release the entirety of your back onto the mat, so all the way from the very bottom of your tailbone, the very tippy top of your head, gently pulling your feet back towards your body. If you have the space, you can straighten one leg and then maybe the other. Take a couple more breaths here, and then we're going to come into an inversion. So the inversion I'm going to show you today is feet straight up. So if you don't have a block, you can send your feet straight up like this and arms out to the side. 5 to 8 breaths here. Or if you have a block, you can take the block underneath your hips, relaxing like this. If you have a pillow or a blanket or a book, you can also try that. If you have another safe inversion practice, you can also come into an inversion of choice, but this is a great place to be. Keep with those full body slow inhales and exhales. Stay present here as we finish up our practice. Don't get caught up on where we're going next. Stay present with an inhale and an exhale and just enjoy the power of the inversion. Finish up one more round of breath here, and then you can gently come off your block and bring your feet down. So you can take any last wiggles that you would like to take. We are going to prepare for Shavasana or a seated meditation. So those of you that would like to take Shavasana, hands out wide, legs out wide, relax into the mat and take a couple breaths just to settle in. I really encourage everyone to take the time just for a couple moments here to let the power of their practice marinate into their cells. Get used to making smooth transitions from thing to thing rather than rushing around. And for those of you that want to end the seated meditation, you can bring your feet up and gently roll over onto your side, pushing yourself up. We will end where we started with legs crossed, long spine. If you used a block before or a blanket or a pillow, you can lift your hips up. And just take a moment to settle in, close your eyes, and commit to sitting here for as long as you can, staying in the moment, mind clear, body relaxed, connected to breath. Come back to those full, deep inhales and exhales. The inhales come in through your nose, fill up your chest and your belly. And then as you exhale, you reverse that motion. You can keep your hands, palms down on your legs to be a little bit more grounding, or maybe palms up to be a little bit more receiving of energy. Stay here as long as you can, connected to breath. And I'll leave you here and leave you with a blessing. Inhaling my hands to my heart. May the longtime sun shine upon you. May all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way. Namaste.